McCarthy Performance. Today we'll be putting together, starting to assemble, I should say, the Edelbrock E heads. In the background you can hear the Storm Vulcan. We're cutting the 283 deck. We're going to check to make sure that the block is square with the true deck. And the way I do that is this is 7/500. This is 1 inch, so that makes 8/500. This is a 1/2 inch. That's 900. Typically a small block at 0 deck is 900. We're not 0 decking it, but we need to get it flat, and it is flat, so we're going to check to see the height, where it is. I took 5 thousandths off roughly of the deck that was on there. So we're going to, I got a ground bar here that was ground flat. I'm going to set that up on my deck. Wipe all the crud off of it, set it on there. We're still low in a few spots. This engine needed to be decked. It wasn't one of these, we don't want to deck it, because we can't. We have to deck it. It just isn't going to seal if it isn't flat. So we know we're at 900 with our gauge under there. And we'll see how much and where it is. I do this multi-ways. I do a snap gauge, dial indicator, micrometer, but this is the way I've been doing it lately. This is the way I prefer to do it. So we know it's not 9.6. So let's say 9.15. Usually they're 9.20 from the factory, roughly. Okay, that's 9.14. 914. So what's that telling me is that we're at 914 for a deck height. So that's 14 thousandths below above zero deck. Now with oversized pistons in OEM, a lot of times if they're flat top, they'll bring them down. So if it's a 30 over, sometimes they're like 30 below, be 920. So you end up with a piston that's down in the hole quite a ways. So we can take this block and we can zero it if we want to. I'm probably going to take another 4, but that's a conversation for another day. So we're putting together the small block Chevrolet E heads, and there ain't much to say about this. You know, we're going to set up the spring height to make sure that the open and close pressure is good. And what do I like to see? You have to be very careful with hydraulic roller lifters. Some companies do not want you to run thick oil. Some companies do not want you to run excessive spring pressure. We're going to shoot for about 130, 125 on the seat. If it's close around 300 open, it'll be fine. I'm going to put the seals on, and before I put the seals on, I always take the tension spring off of them. I oil them up, put a little oil on them before they go down. So we got them all oiled up, we'll drive them on. Of course, we always want to make sure that we have enough clearance between the retainer and the seal. More is better, but minimum is 60 thousandths is where I shoot for. We're going to check intake and exhaust. You should be good, but you know, you never want to assume too much of anything. It's always better to check it and know for a fact. I know what the lift of the cam is. It looks like we got about 607 thousandths, so we got plenty of clearance. We've got more than what I guessed. We got over 700. That's fine. So we're going to put the springs on. Check the intake now. So we checked one intake and exhaust. Like I said, the guides haven't been replaced. There's no reason to worry about it. That's a large number. If it was around 650 or 660, you know, that would still be all right. We're plenty good enough. So we're going to put our little garter springs on here. Make sure you got them seated all the way around. Okay, we're putting the second hit together. So it's going to go much like the same as the other one. I like to clamp them down to the table, and they don't wiggle around as much. And you could, especially with the bigger springs, you don't want to be chasing the head across the countertop. Forgot to put my booty doodle on there. it's had an eyebrow here. I removed that. So the low lift numbers should be a little bit better on them. Went in and did a little bit of work in here because they had CNC matched it for an intake gasket. I'd got in there and just kind of smoothed out the transitions. Didn't get too crazy with the cylinder heads, and went in here and worked a little bit on the short side radius of the heads. But anyways, they're all together, and this will be the block for it, and should be next week I'll be putting that together. That'll be a 383. So we got the 283 all decked today. We'll get her in the line bore and probably make a video on line boring it. Have to do some work on the caps. That's mentioned that in a previous video. But she cleaned up really nice. And thank you for watching.